Hi, welcome to Last Call Reviews. I'm Randy, and this is Todd. Hi, welcome to Plan 9 Reviews. I'm Todd, and this is Randy.
Hello, welcome to Nostalgia Critic. We remember it so you don't have to.
Hi, welcome to Last Call Reviews. We're reviewing Edge of Tomorrow, the new Tom Cruise movie. Pretty excited about this. Hi, welcome to Last Call Reviews. I'm Randy, and this is Todd, and this is really familiar. Do you think we're stuck in a time loop and we've been doing this review over and over again?
No.
Oh.
It's probably because you do the same thing every day in the same room. So it all feels the same.
Well, if I was masturbating, I guess that's...
Yeah,
oh, you're right.
I am.
Right now. So, yes, this is the new Tom Cruise actioner, Edge of Tomorrow, originally...
Scientology thriller.
Yeah. The original title was All You Need Is Kill, which is...
Everything is kill.
No,
It's
All You Need Is... I went and looked it up. We were wrong. I was wrong. I was saying Everything is Kill. But All You Need Is Kill, which is a manga, a book. I haven't read it, so I don't have any information on that. I hear it's very similar to this, actually.
Yeah, Tom Cruise also starred in the manga.
Yeah. The whitewashing of Hollywood happens again, but this is a justified one, I feel, because Tom Cruise's casting is pretty essential to the film.
It's a very American film.
Yeah.
Aside from the aesthetics of the creature things in it,
yeah,
without saying what they are, giving too much away. There's not like a twist there.
The evil Sentinels from the Matrix.
Yeah, I didn't know they were in the movie, so I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
See, when Neo shows up and saves Tom Cruise at the end,
but some of that stuff you can see the foreign influence on, especially the mech suits, the Eastern influence.
No, the mech... that's one thing we didn't talk about. Just to answer, I really love mech suits and mech stuff, and we don't get nearly enough of that in movies. Besides District 9, it just occurred to me, this is pretty much the best mech suit stuff I've seen in movies.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, there's Pacific Rim, which is giant mech, which still counts, but this is the first, full body size
it's
mech.
sweet,
it really
too.
Explores it.
Yeah, no, and it's really cool. I keep forgetting about that. Really cool. They just have these like mech suits, and they don't make them perfect. They don't make the characters like super badass.
No, it's kind of cool. Like they malfunction and characters die.
Emily Blunt's character has Cloud's sword from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's weird how she's the only character in the movie with like a sword.
And she looks badass. She's just standing there with her shoulder, and she just has posters everywhere, and she's Full Metal Bitch.
Yeah,
and I just love it. She just comes with the sword. She like does these spin attacks with the sword.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of, I don't know if I'd say it's a flaw of the movie, but it's really corny movie stuff. Except for the fact with her backstory, it does kind of fit in the sense that you can kind of accept it in movie logic.
If it wouldn't, it would probably not work in a bad movie. But
exactly, we'd be making fun of it as like Zack Snyder's Edge of Tomorrow.
But in a good movie, you're like, that's really cool. It's like
Emily Blunt could totally pick that giant metal sword up.
Well, that's the thing. You want her to have a sword. You're like, you need to have that sword. No, I was mad in the movie when she quit carrying the sword. I think.
Yeah, I don't remember what she probably just dropped it at one point on the beach.
I think fighting all the aliens having a sword at one point probably wasn't going to do much.
She just needed it for the one scene to look cool, and then she's like, okay.
So this is basically Groundhog Day meets Independence Day, so it meets D-Day.
Halo influence, especially the final boss at the end.
A lot of that comes from the James Cameron influence, because Halo pretty much took
the Space Marine stuff.
A lot of the aesthetics. Tom Cruise plays Cage, not Nick Cage. Basically, it starts off that he is this. He was in advertising, and now he sells.
He's basically a fake soldier.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bill Murray being a news reporter.
He's basically like he pushes propaganda to get people to join the war. It starts off very Starship Troopers in that sense with the newsreels and everything. And then Cruise basically goes to meet a general, and you find out that our military, the world military, has been fighting aliens, and we're losing. We won a battle that was pretty big, which was Full Metal Bitch. Emily Blunt's character was the hero of that battle. We're about to have the big battle. This is the Normandy. This defines the war. If we lose this one, the war's over. He comes in, and this general tells him, played by, the 28 Days Later guy.
I know who you're talking
I know his name, too. He's Harry Potter.
Some man with an actor. It wasn't Daniel Radcliffe.
Exactly.
Daniel Radcliffe sitting there.
Well, I meant in Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe's the general.
Like 2 foot taller than Tom.
Off to the wall with you. But he tells him, he goes, listen, I need you to go out and film and show people us kicking ass. And Tom's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, Tom, but
Yeah.
Tom Cage. And he's like, well, no, you're going to go out. And he's like, I'll fucking die. I'm not trained. I can't do this.
He's like, I can't do that. I'm a pussy.
You relate as an audience member very quickly, like, yeah, I don't want to go there. No.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you have to. And he's like, all right, motherfucker, how about I blackmail you? Then the general demotes him and then just sends him in as a soldier. Yeah.
Basically.
And he wakes up, and to glory of the existence of God now is proof, because Bill Paxton is in this movie, and Tom Cruise has to keep reliving the same day seeing Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and it's really funny because there's a scene where he comes back and turns Bill Paxton into like a steaming pile of crap.
Yeah,
but he talks.
Well, Harry taught him magic.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really cool turn of events in this
So
story.
he goes there and he sucks. He does not know what the fuck he is doing, and he meets all these like soldiers who just make fun of him. They rip this guy a new asshole.
Yeah.
And it's Tom Cruise getting broke down. And we're talking, and he's older than these people. I mean, it's movie star Tom Cruise, and he's a coward. He's a pure coward.
Well, he's a really relatable person. He's kind of a prick.
Yeah.
But it's just played enough that you can accept him as a protagonist.
Yes.
And not hate him by the end of the movie when you need to like him.
He then goes to the battle, and he dies immediately because he doesn't know what he's doing. And an alien jumps on him, and him and the alien blow up together. Bam, he wakes up again same day. Then you start the Groundhog Day scenario. And that's pretty much as far as I want to go into the plot. I don't want to spoil much more than that. All that I can say is that he meets Emily Blunt's character, Full Metal Bitch, and she starts training him and helping him because she had something similar happen to her before. And basically it's a story about him and her working together to try and do what they can.
To work things out step by step to get to the conclusion of the war.
And that's kind of the process of the movie. It's him and her trial and error, like a video game. It's very much set up like a video game. Kind of brilliantly, really, story.
Well, I noticed about halfway through the movie, a lot of the stakes really aren't that high through most of it when you think about it.
No, it's just doing repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you're not worried if this character's gonna die. You kind of want him to.
You got an extra life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a Jackass or something.
No, his deaths are always exciting. It's always like, yeah, Tom's dying.
Yeah.
Get him.
And the whole movie doesn't have that. You know, the beginning and ending the movie, the stakes are much higher.
No, about the first, it has a lot of setup in about the first 20 minutes, and it's good setup. It's necessary. But once it gets going, the movie really doesn't stop until like it gets to that final
What
act.
I like is it's constantly expanding upon itself.
Yes. Well, it makes you think it's going to be a smaller movie, then it gets bigger.
Yeah.
Then it gets bigger, and then it just shows specific parts of battle or what he's doing. It doesn't have to show you.
Yeah, and then he leaves the battlefield entirely, and it gets even bigger. Then it gets bigger than that.
Yeah.
You think it's going to become a smaller film in this intimate location, and it doesn't become that at all.
What this film does, and it's so meta in the sense that I talked about as we came out, is that it's Tom Cruise starts as just a guy, and then through the process of the movie, at the end, he becomes action star Tom Cruise. He becomes Tom Cruise at the end. He has the gun, he's fighting, he's like a badass, and he had to become that character. So it's actually a deconstruction of this role Cruise has been playing for about 20 years or so on. So it's fresh in that way. You accept Tom Cruise as a human in this, so that when he becomes a badass, it's not Tom Cruise, it is Cage.
Well, it's really...
he doesn't lose the man in the part.
Well, that's what makes the film work so well, is it's clever about all these ideas. Like, if you say there's this movie where these like soldiers are fighting aliens and they die and they come back,
yeah,
you'd be like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah, it's a dumb
But the movie approaches it in a way where you can accept it.
And it's just serious enough.
In the same way that you can approach Tom Cruise as an action movie star.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Tom Cruise is the last Mohican, you can't accept.
Yeah.
But in this movie, they spin it. I was like, oh, I could see Tom Cruise doing that. They give him enough of a handicap.
It's hard to go into much because I don't want to spoil, because it is like, if you said, I would spoil good moments. Like, it's a movie of like, oh, that was a funny scene, oh, that was cool, that was twist. Those are all spoilers, kind of. It's kind of like, it's better if you don't know, because I was surprised a lot in this. I didn't know a lot was going to happen, because while they change it from Groundhog Day and other movies like Source Code or whatnot, is they don't put you in the POV with the character.
The character knows things that you don't.
Yes, he's ahead of the audience, which usually audiences are ahead of characters, and you have to watch the characters catch up, and that's fun. Yeah. This is fun in a way that it plays with your perspective and expectations from scene to scene. Every scene is not what you think it's going to be when it starts.
In one scene, you might see Tom Cruise try to pull off this action movie stunt and fail. But in the next scene, he completely tricks another character and is 3 steps ahead of them.
No, there's just one scene, I won't spoil it, but where it looks like he's going to do something really badass and it's heroic, and there's a shot and just something happens and it's so funny, and then it just cuts and he's doing it again. It's got a great ending where like he'll do something, die, and then he'll go back to doing it again, and it does, and it seems like one scene.
The film has a constant sense of energy, which is very good for a film as repetitious as this.
Yeah,
because if it lacked that, or if they got it wrong through editing or filmmaking,
it was always fresh.
Can you imagine how boring this movie would be?
No, it's a film that constantly reinvents itself.
Yeah,
it starts as one kind of movie, then becomes another kind of movie, and then at the end becomes a whole different movie.
It's a film that's constantly improving upon itself as well.
It becomes deeper.
Yeah, and especially like the climax. I can't think of too many great climaxes in films like Maleficent, the last movie we reviewed.
Yeah.
I mean, this one really does the opposite, where it starts off with promise.
And this film likes men and women.
I really like the dynamic between Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt.
They have chemistry. It's shocking.
Considering the age gap.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
But really, they don't. It's never like an equal, or there's never like one person above the other. They're working together. They each have shortcomings.
And the cool thing is, she's more of the man in a Hollywood sense than he is. She's the hard ass. She's the one you can't break. She's the one with the dark past, and she's the one who has to train him. He's more of the woman in the sense where he's romantic and eyed and the sidekick kind of.
And it doesn't
he grows
in a way that's pandering to the characters.
No, it's interesting.
Human. It's not male versus female.
No.
It's not one person's an idiot, the other's genius.
And this
very much.
And this movie doesn't force a romance in a typical sense. It's very organic how things develop.
I wish, without giving too much away, I wish they would pull back a little bit near the end. It is a very typical movie moment. But you can accept it because their chemistry is very
I will say
good.
this. My only issues really with the movies in the third act, I think it's maybe a bit too happy, a little too blockbuster, where it's like, we're going to kind of give you what you want, and we're going to... And my only issue with that is that the film was more challenging throughout. It was very much... It had to earn everything that he did. It took me back to Iron Man 1, where he kept fucking up to build the Iron Man suit. But the thing is, I can't attack the movie for that because it does earn that ending.
It does. You're happy at the end when you see what happens.
Yes. Because his character earning it,
what's sad about it is that this
film
film about trial and error and bittersweet moments, like dying and how it's funny, within circumstance that you can pull back and look at it, it really does call for a bittersweet ending in that traditional science fiction sense.
It's really funny. It's a video game where you have a bunch of lives and you die, and then you have to get to the final boss. Yeah. And if you beat the final boss, it's game. That's
exactly. That's it really is.
It's the only movie I've seen do the video game storytelling and actually like work. No, it gets what works about video games, the energy
without adapting a video game directly.
No, it's kind of like I actually would like to see more movies with video game stories if they were handled like this.
It's very much like point A to point B, but done in a way that's exciting.
Well, you just have to have some good character dynamics, some funny dialogue, which is just filled with just great little exchanges of dialogue. Characters that you don't even need to fully flesh out; they just have to be good for a scene. Yeah, like the Marines that he's with, the other soldiers he's with.
They're very much. Speaking of Paxton, they're very much Aliens characters.
They're Vasquez and all them from Aliens. But the thing is, they work as well as those characters do in Aliens.
And without giving anything away, in the scenes that they need to be in, you always accept them, even if they have a change of motivation or they do something that's somewhat out of character. You would think you can accept why they do it.
And they're smart to cast actors who have different kinds of voices or looks to them.
Yeah, I mean, they're really unconventional people. They're not going to be starring in blockbuster of their own anytime
They felt real. Especially there's a girl character in the group who has a very strange voice and look, and it's like, she's not sexy.
Well, my girlfriend turned to me and she said it was like Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of, I'm not a fan of her, but it felt like a more organic kind of...
Yeah.
Or the overweight guy, the Scottish guy. They were really... misfits.
They have personality.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you basically see this loser guy, and he has to hang out with kind of a group of losers. They're all kind of dipshits.
He doesn't look like a loser.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's the king of the hill.
Yeah.
When really he's like at the bottom of the totem pole.
And Paxton, I cannot say enough how much he serves this film's pacing and entertainment value, because he really sets everything up in a way to where you totally accept it. You want to hear what he has to say. Yeah. And it just gets you right in the right mood. It sets the tone. Yeah. It's like, this is an homage to 80s action.
I felt like it was an homage to Arlie Army.
Yeah, well, his performance,
in a way that never felt too direct about it. He gave his own spin
it's
on
Bill
that
Paxton
archetype.
doing it. And Paxton's got his own he's got his own style. And we're both huge Paxton fans. Like, he's never ruined a film ever. Guy's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it goes like, the acting is kind of like, it's kind of perfect. I think every actor does their job perfectly,
especially for a film of this type.
Yeah, no, for basically essentially a huge budget B movie.
Yeah,
like which was what Godzilla was. This does it so much better being a big budget B movie than that because it's always got something happening. It doesn't have downtime to be boring.
Yeah.
My problem with Godzilla was I was liking it, but then it would take these long periods and you would kind of lose the momentum. This movie, it like we said, it just changes. It doesn't be what you want it to be.
It's a different kind of B movie. Whereas Godzilla was kind of homaging the B movies that didn't have the money to put a lot of those scenes in there. This one's homaging the ones that tried to cram everything in there. But it's like Deep Blue Sea, where it can be ridiculous and over the top and fun.
No, it's
always.
No, this movie's like this is one of the most. This movie for like the first, it gets a little bit more serious in the next act and it gets compelling. But I'd say like the first hour is just entertaining as hell. It's great movie popcorn fun. Like we saw it at matinee and I said that's a great matinee movie. Like you're so satisfied when you walk out. Because it gives you everything you need, really, out of it. Like a
it's not a very long movie, but you feel fulfilled by the end.
No, it's shocking. It's under 2 hours, but it covers a lot in that time. It gives a fully fleshed out.
There's not much in the movie that you say, oh, I wish they would have explored this more.
No, it's tight.
There's some things that it kind of hints at. That I do wish they would have done it. It reminded me, without getting too much into it, of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
Where in the mid-act, they introduce some plot elements that are really interesting, kind of darker for a children's film. And they don't ultimately fulfill them. They find a way around it. And this film does it the same way, but it does it much more clever.
Yeah.
I do like how he does it. And he is in Tom Cruise's character, manages to work things out.
Well, also I like how this movie never condescends to you as an audience member.
Exactly.
It's always with you.
Yeah.
It's always rewarding you. Much like video games, when it takes something away, it gives you something then rewarding you when you think right.
Yeah.
Because you'll get to the point where you're like, I don't know, is this going right? Is this kind of this is cliche, or I don't know, is this? And then they do something, you're like, oh, that's what you were doing, and it's playing with you the whole time. It's Doug Liman. He directed Swingers and Go, and the first Bourne film, and recently Jumper and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He's kind of been off lately, but this is I'd say his best film since Go, and arguably his best film. I don't know if I like it better than Go, but it's a great mix of Go's narrative play and the Bourne Identity's action and pacing. A good director. Christopher McQuarrie worked on the script. He wrote The Usual Suspects. Frequently collaborates with Bryan Singer.
Yeah, every movie we watched last month.
Yeah.
We've watched a lot of his movies.
Yeah, we've actually been following his writing, and you will notice a lot of his writing traits here. I think a lot of the good dialogue, and a lot of mainly just a lot of the stuff I think probably probably came from him.
It reminded me a lot of the tone with The Matrix. A tough thing to give it a letter rating. It'd probably be tougher to give a numerical rating. But what I kept thinking through is probably B+.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever breaks the A line.
It gets close.
But it's always above a solid B.
Yeah, no, it's a B+ in the way that, like, the best way.
Yeah, it's everything you want out of a movie that it is. It's just that it never transcends it and becomes a classic.
Yeah, that's the problem. It never really becomes art. It always just stays entertainment, which is fine.
The one thing we did talk about that we think could have elevated it above was if it was given a hard R rating.
Yeah.
A whole film centered around watching Tom Cruise die, and you don't really see it happen
much.
Fuck
the MPAA, because while we were watching this film, I noticed a lot of stuff where there could be more gore.
Oh, yeah.
Or basically stuff happening. It just,
they allude to it constantly. It's a film that does need more violence.
Yeah.
In a film about nothing
but
the
original
violence.
title, All You Need Is Kill, it's like, I kind of need to kill.
Yeah, I don't really want to take my kid to see that movie.
Basically, I'm probably going to lean more towards an A-, but that is, I essentially do agree, though, it's a B+. It's just, I feel like just giving it that B+ is underselling it. Like if I could go numerically, it's like an 8.5 out of 10 movie. You know? That's how I try to judge it. Which, that sounds so much better than B+ when you hear it. So that's the only way contextually I can explain it to you, is that it's a fucking really good, it's like a good movie that's a great movie because it's so good. It's not a great film.
It's a really good sleeper hit.
Yes.
Where you don't expect much from it, then you see it, and it's more than you wanted while also delivering everything you expected.
No, and in the middle of the summer here, and all the big hyped releases, this is a lot more clever and interesting than a lot of the big movies.
It's a film that never loses itself in its own budget.
This is one of Tom Cruise's best films. This is one of the best things he's been in years.
One of the most memorable characters he's played as well, which for like army guy number 58
Yeah.
is pretty impressive.
I mean, I would rank this up there, yeah, with like his Jerry Maguire performances when he gets cast in a very Hollywood movie and he has to bring the charisma and he just kills it. It's
in
perfect.
an action sci-fi film today.
No, and the fact he's 52 and he's showing no signs of stopping of being.
Yeah, he looks about 13. In the movie. He plays a 12-year-old.
No, I said that Scientology, if it's like if Christ, you know, if we had proof of his resurrection, that would prove God. Cruise's age proves Scientology to be the truth, and L. Ron Hubbard's greatness, because the man doesn't age.
Speaking of Scientology, science fiction action, what I really liked about the film, because you know I'm not big on modern sci-fi, because really that post-Star Wars formula, where it's very much more action.
Well, it's grandiose space opera, not real science fiction, like
exactly.
literary science fiction. More like what Her is. Her is a real sci-fi film.
But this felt very much like a reinvention of the two, where it's both. It's doing quantum physics and time travel.
No, it's hinting at bigger things,
and scientific
and it keeps it tight.
Concepts like, mech suits, aliens.
Yeah.
But it always does it and keeps it balanced, like the Matrix or something. When you see that.
Yeah, I kind of love it. I think it's a little gem. I could say safely that this with Days of Future Past is the two best films I've seen in the theater this summer. X-Men's definitely the better film, but this is still like, whoa, Tom Cruise came out through a little great movie.
I think the difference with this though is that with X-Men it is the better film.
Yeah.
But you have more expectations, like, well, they better deliver on this.
Yeah.
Come on, Singer.
No, it's a huge thing.
But with this film, you don't have those pretenses.
It surprises you.
Yeah.
No, it's a sneak up.
It's got no baggage.
I can't wait to, buy the Blu-ray, watch it on TV a lot. Like, this is a film I could see myself watching.
It's a good pizza movie.
Yeah, it's a party movie, too.
Have friends over. Yeah.
No,
it's smart, but it's also very entertaining. It's a clever.
X-Men, here's the thing with X-Men. I don't think I could show that movie to anyone and they would love it. This film, I think, is just about for anyone. In that sense, it's kind of a perfect Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
If you're a Tom Cruise fan at all, even if you're not, if you hate him, he gets his ass kicked a lot in this movie. You might be surprised. He is not Tom Cruise in this for most of it.
Yeah,
So I think he kind of made a movie for everyone.
It's not a selfish performance.
No,
it's not building him up.
It's
to be
no
this
ego.
Great person. No.
No, this film.
He's a jerk in it, really.
Well, we said that the film isn't condescending to the audience. Cruise isn't as a character. The ego never comes through.
He earns his role as a hero of the movie.
Yes.
It goes on, and that's what's so cool about it.
No, there's a line at the end with Emily Blunt's character, I won't say, but she says something, and it's what she says to him about who he is. I think it's very earned through the film and how it's set up. The line, you're like, yeah, that's true. And because you've been through the circumstances, he may have not been a type of person before, but because of the film, he becomes someone new. He changes, much like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Well, much like Tom Cruise brings out the best in that character. By the end of the movie, the circumstances bring the best out of the character as well.
Yeah.
Whereas he's defined by negative traits at the beginning.
So big recommendation. Like high.
See in theaters, rent it, buy it, blind buy it.
High B pluses though. I mean high. Like this is as high as a B plus. To be like, if this movie had made me cry, it'd be an A minus. It just never gets too emotionally investing. It always keeps you at somewhat of a distance, but that's fine. I want to say that's perfectly fine. This is as good as it possibly could have been. This is tailor-made studio executives, committee putting a movie together.
A film that really shouldn't work whatsoever.
Yeah.
Really working well.
Good producing.
Yeah.
Hollywood, good job on this one. I'll give you guys that. But that's it.